Hi, welcome to Money Mistakes Series Part 2. This is Aussie Wealth Builder, where freedom begins $1 at a time. And just a quick note, this content in this video is for educational and storytelling purposes only. It reflects personal and experiences lessons and should not be taken as financial advice. Please do your own research or speak to a licensed advisor before making any financial decisions. Having said that, now let's get into the story. Not every money mistakes comes from overspending. Sometimes the real mistake is putting yourself last every single time, isn't it? And today's story is not about the credit cards or the gadgets. It's about a father, a husband, and a son who smiled every day while quietly breaking inside. That's a kind of pain you can't see in a bank balance. You see it in the mirror, in your tired eyes, your thinning hair, and your fake smile. That was me. Waking up at 6 a.m., rushing to work, starting at performance metrics and pointless meetings. Then coming home to a family that looked up to me as a provider. And I loved them, I still do. But deep down, I was suffocating. Every time a bill came, I swallowed my fear. And for every school fee, I smiled and said, "Don't worry, everything unexpected expenses I pulled from my savings. You know what's even worse? That's my future." And no one saw the browser tabs I kept open. How to make extra money. How to make some extra money in the side hustle and what are some side hustle ideas. How to tell your wife you're scared without making her panic. That's a bit challenging, isn't it? And no one saw the tears because I cried in the shower quietly so no one would hear. It was a Thursday. My daughter was laughing in the next room. My wife was cooking dinner and I had just checked my bank app. To my surprise, it was just $2.37 left. That was it. And I still had to pay for my fuel, groceries, and the chips in for a colleague's birthday lunch the next day. So I had to close the app, sat in the dark, and held my head in my hands. And just whispered to myself, is this what life is now? A race I can't win. I gave up my dreams, my passions, my youth, just to pay the electricity bills and smile through the pain. I really felt like I wanted to scream, but instead I walked into the kitchen and said, "Wow, smells amazing and can't wait to eat." Because men like me, we don't explode, we just erode. Sacrifice is silent until it's too loud. You know what the real money mistake is? Never putting yourself on the list. Yes, I told myself I would buy that book later, that course later, and maybe that vacation next year. But you know what? That later never came. Because someone always needed something more than me. And I owed that sacrifice like a badge of honor until my health finally cracked down. My blood pressure eventually went up, my stress hit the roof, and doctor looked at me and said, "You need to really slow down. You're burning out a lot." And I really laughed. Slow down? How? When life never gives you a break. That night, my wife found me awake at 2 a.m. with my laptop open, spreadsheet of our finances, and my tears on the keyboard. She sat beside me, held my hands, and she asked me the one question I didn't know how to answer. "Why are you carrying this all around? Why didn't you tell me you were scared?" I really had no answers, just guilt. Sometimes rock bottom is the best place to build from. That night, I decided, no more pretending, no more pride, no more destroying myself to keep up an image. I sat my family down, told them everything, the stress, the mistakes, and the shame I was undergoing. And you know what they said? Not how you could and why didn't you manage it better. No, it's not a question about that. My daughter came up and hugged me and said, "It's okay, Appa. We don't need any more stuff. We just need you to be happy." At that moment, my friends, I cried like a child because for the first time, I felt like I was seen. I was not a failure. I was just trying to be a hero all by myself alone. And heroes fail too. Rebuilding $1 at a time. How I exactly did it? I didn't become a millionaire overnight, but I made a plan. I started tracking every cent from then on. I built $1,000 emergency fund. I cut unnecessary expenses. I started investing in world quality businesses, small bits at a time. I started reading books, listened to podcasts, learned and grew from there. I said no to impressing any others and said yes to peace of myself. And you know what's crazy? The moment I stopped chasing those validation, money actually started staying with me because peace is the greatest profit. The small wins that gave me my life back. I didn't post about it, didn't get 100 likes or the applause. But I can tell you what gave me the real happiness. The first time I transferred $50 into my emergency fund, and the day I made my first dividend payment, even it was just $7. I still remember those days. The week I spent without using my credit card and didn't feel anxious, and it was very peaceful. When I finally said no to a dinner invite I could not afford without any guilt. And lastly, when I sat with my wife and we made a joint budget as a team and not as a burden. These things really helped me change. And these were not Instagram moments, they were not sexy, they were not viral, but they made me feel something I had not felt in years. I felt like I got my control back, my dignity, and my hope. Because once you get a tiny taste of freedom, you will never want to go back to faking life for approval again. And day by day, I was not just building a better financial life, I was rebuilding myself to the silent warriors still out there. This is not as part of the internet, and this is just for you. The one watching this right now with tired eyes, sitting late at night, pretending everything is fine, but you know deep down inside your heart that you're scared, you're stretched, and you're exhausted. And still, you show up every single day. Yeah, you work, you care, you give, even when no one claps for you. That's the success. That's the mindset you need to have, my friends. Even when no one asks if you're okay, you just need to keep going. Let me say something to you that no one might have said in a long time. I see you, I understand, and you deserve better. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be consistent, and you don't have to impress anyone because really no one cares for anybody. But you do have the right to choose peace over pressure, and you do have the power to rewrite your story, one small choice at a time. You're not behind, you're just on a path that no one else understands yet. And this channel, Aussie Wealth Builder, it exists to remind you. You're not alone, you're not forgotten, and your freedom is still possible. If you're still watching this and you ever felt like you're carrying the world on your shoulders silently, and if you have felt that you have skipped the meals to feed just others, and if you've smiled while drowning inside, just know this: you're not weak, you're not a failure, you are a warrior in silence. But even warriors need rest sometimes. Talk to someone. Please start small, build again, but never give up. never give up. Not for the world, not for the likes, not for the status, but just for you, your inner peace, and for your freedom. Alright, this is Aussie Wealth Builder, where freedom begins $1 at a time. So drop a like and please drop the comments if this story hits you. And tell me exactly what parts connected with your life. It really helps me make my future episodes even more powerful for you. Please share this video and share your story below and subscribe for more real life stories that actually matter. Let's do this together.